Hola clase. Today we're going to cover our first formal vocabulary lesson. It's Chapter 2 vocab, which covers some basic words and phrases and also introductions. If you haven't already printed off your worksheet called the vocabulary notes worksheet for this chapter, please have that printed. And as we go through this video and PowerPoint together, I want you to write out those Spanish phrases. Writing out these new vocab words in Spanish is going to help you memorize them a lot faster. So we're going to write them out and we're going to practice pronouncing them as we go through today's video. So if you're ready, let's get started. First, we're going to learn about how we greet people. In Spanish, the word for hello is hola. Now, when I say the word repitan, I'm asking you all to repeat after me. So repitan, hola. Good. Remember that H is silent. Hola. Then, buenos dias is good morning or good day. Repitan, buenos dias. Buenas tardes is good afternoon. Repitan, buenas tardes. And buenas noches is good night. Repitan, buenas noches. Not to be confused with buenos nachos, which means good nachos. So buenas noches, when we say good night in English, it's usually a farewell, a goodbye. Buenas noches, though, can be a greeting. It's just like saying hello. If it's the evening or nighttime, you'll hear buenas noches a lot. And then if you are talking to a friend or a peer, someone you're more comfortable with, you don't normally say, well, good morning, Tim, how are you? You might say, hey, what's up? How's it going? So a more casual way to say hello or what's up is ¿qué tal? Repitan, ¿qué tal? Very good. Okay, next up, if you're meeting someone for the first time and you want to ask their name, there's a few different ways to do this. First off, I do want to warn you that just as we learned when we learned about subject pronouns this chapter, there are two different ways to say you in Spanish. Tu, which is the familiar way to say you, and usted, which is the formal way. The usted is what we use when we're talking to someone older than us or someone we want to show respect to. So there's going to be two options for a few of these phrases, like asking, what do you call yourself, which is a different way of asking, what's your name? The familiar way to ask that in Spanish is, ¿cómo te llamas? Repitan, ¿cómo te llamas? And the formal version of this is, ¿cómo se llama? Repitan, ¿cómo se llama? So first off, in English, we always say, what's your name? In Spanish, it's very, very common for them to ask, what do you call yourself? And so you'll want to get used to saying, ¿cómo te llamas? Or ¿cómo se llama? And remembering it's what do you call yourself? It's not technically asking, what is your name? So ¿cómo te llamas? Is what we'd use if we're talking to someone our own age or younger. And ¿cómo se llama? Is what you'd use if you're talking to someone older than you that you want to show respect to. Now, to say, I call myself, a way to answer this question is me llamo. For example, I might say, me llamo Amy. Repitan, me llamo. So that's not my name is, it's I call myself, which is just a funky way that they say those phrases in Spanish. Now, if that throws you off, what do you call yourself? Well, I call myself Amy. You can give these questions and answers in a different way. The next one is, ¿cuál es tu nombre? Which does technically ask, what is your name? And that's totally acceptable. Now, I've got tu versus su because ¿cuál es tu nombre? Is the familiar way to ask that. And ¿cuál es su nombre? Is the formal. So repeat those after me. ¿Cuál es tu nombre? And the formal way, ¿cuál es su nombre? Good. And if you don't like answering me llamo for I call myself, you can technically say my name is, which is mi nombre es. Like I could say mi nombre es Amy. So repitan, mi nombre es. Good. So again, ¿cómo te llamas? And ¿cuál es tu nombre? You can use either or. Me llamo and mi nombre es. Either one is fine. They all get the same point across. Now, if you're talking about someone else, to ask who is that, like who is he or who is she, we would ask ¿quién es? Repitan, ¿quién es? Another way to ask that, I want to go back up for just a second. ¿Cómo se llama is the formal way to ask, what do you call yourself? But it also can mean, what does he call himself, or what does she call herself? Now, while that sounds confusing, in a real-life situation, you're going to know which one they're asking you. If someone younger than you is talking directly to you and says, ¿Cómo se llama?, they're obviously asking, what do you call yourself? But if they're pointing at some girl on the other side of the room going, ¿Cómo se llama?, what does she call herself? What's her name? It'll be very obvious to you. Or you could just say, ¿Quién es? Who is that? And then to answer that question, you could say, él es, or ella es. Él es means he is, like él es Jorge. Ella es means she is, like ella es María. So repitan, él es, ella es. Very good. Now we're going to keep going, and I know this is a lot of vocab, but this is just the introductions. We're writing them out, we're pronouncing them. Within the next couple days, we're going to get a whole lot of practice, and soon you'll know these phrases and words without any trouble. So just keep coming with me, I promise. We're going to learn them all soon. So after you've asked somebody's name, you'll probably ask, how are you doing? The familiar way to ask how are you is, ¿Cómo estás? Repitan, ¿Cómo estás? If you want to ask someone formally, how are you, someone older than you, we would ask, ¿Cómo está usted? Repitan, ¿Cómo está usted? If you hear it really fast, it's, ¿Cómo está usted? Kind of mushes into one sentence. Now, there are many ways to answer this question in English and in Spanish. Simply put, to say I am, when you're talking about how you're feeling, you would use estoy. Estoy. So we could say estoy bien for I'm good or I'm fine. Repitan, estoy bien. To say I'm bad, you could say estoy mal. I'm not doing good. Repitan, estoy mal. You could say estoy más o menos. Now, más o menos technically means more or less, but it's just a way of saying I'm okay. I'm not great, but I'm not bad. I'm just fine. So, repitan, más o menos. If you're really good, you can say estoy muy bien. I'm very good. Repitan, muy bien. And then normally, the next question is, and how are you? So the word y tú means and you. And you can use that when you're asking, oh, and what's your name too? Or, and how are you feeling as well? We can use that a lot. So the y tú is the familiar way to ask, and the y usted is the formal. So repitan, y tú, y usted. Great. Next up, we're going to talk about asking where you're from. The familiar way to say where are you from is de donde eres tú. Or sometimes that tú will be left off and it's just de donde eres. So repitan, de donde eres. The formal way to ask it is de donde es usted. Repitan, de donde es usted. And then to answer that question, I'm from is soy de. So I might say, soy de Mamel, or soy de Arkansas. I'm from Arkansas. Repitan, soy de. Very good. Okay, next up we have saying goodbye. Adios is the way to say goodbye in Spanish. Repitan, adios. Another way is buenas noches, which we saw earlier. Buenas noches means good night. It could be a greeting or a farewell. So repitan one more time, buenas noches. Hasta luego means see you later. Technically it means until later. Repitan, hasta luego. Or hasta mañana means see you tomorrow or until tomorrow. Repitan, hasta mañana. Remember that ñ with the tilde makes that ñ sound. Mañana. Now this last slide of vocab are just some random words, some more etc. I couldn't fit them into just one category. So first off, a lot of times in Spanish and English, we say like, yeah, I know, or I don't know. And that's something you should know how to say in Spanish. So, yo sé is I know. Repitan, yo sé. But if you don't know something, like if I ask you a question and you really have no idea and you can't look it up and you just need some help, you can tell me, I don't know. And I'll help you. And that is no sé. Repitan, no sé. Now, the words and or are just one letter in Spanish. The letter Y is the word and it's pronounced E. Repitan, E. And the letter O is or. Repitan, O. O. That's how we pronounce that word or. Now, if you meet somebody for the first time, one way to say nice to meet you is mucho gusto. Repitan, mucho gusto. And if someone says nice to meet you to you, you might want to say you too, or likewise, or it's nice to meet you as well. And the way we can say that is igualmente. Repitan, igualmente. Very good. So if someone says mucho gusto, it's very polite to respond igualmente. Now, if you bump into somebody, or you want to say excuse me or pardon me, it's perdón. Repitan, perdón. If you want to say I'm sorry, it's lo siento. Repitan, lo siento. And then, I'm sure you've seen these before and heard of these, but just in case, señor, or as we say, SR period, that's how we abbreviate it, is the word for Mr. Repitan, señor. Señora, or SRA period, is Mrs., someone that's married. Repitan, señora. Now, a girl or young woman that is not married is a miss. In English and in Spanish, that's known as a señorita. Señorita. Repitan, señorita. So if a lady's married, she's a señora, like my name is Señora Westerman. But before I got married, my name was Señorita Pruitt, because I had a different last name. I wasn't married yet. Now, if you want to say thank you, it's gracias. But if you want to say thank you very much or many thanks, put a muchas in front of it. Muchas gracias. Repitan, muchas gracias. Very good. And then you're welcome is de nada, which technically means of nothing. It's kind of like saying, oh, it was nothing, no problem, no big deal. So repitan, de nada. And you can shake your hands, you're done writing. I know that was painful. What I'm going to show you next is just some practice conversations. Yes, I will do female and male voices, but this is just something you might hear or see in a Spanish conversation. Mario says, hola, Susana. Susana says, buenos días, Mario. Mario says, ¿cómo estás? Estoy bien. ¿Y tú? Más o menos. Adiós. Hasta luego. So if we look at that and translated it, it means, hello, Susan. Good day or good morning, Mario. How are you? I'm good, and you? I'm okay, más o menos, more or less. And then she says, goodbye, and he says, see you later. Another last example of a conversation we might see. Alonso says, buenas noches. Maribel says, hola, ¿cómo te llamas? Me llamo Alonso, ¿y tú? Mi nombre es Maribela. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy mal. ¿Y tú? Estoy muy bien. So think about, what does that mean? What is buenas noches? Or no, buenas noches. Good night. Very good. And what is hola, ¿cómo te llamas? Think about it. Hello, what do you call yourself? Yeah, and he says, me llamo Alonso, ¿y tú? I call myself Alonso. And you? And she says, my name is Maribela. Then he asks, how are you? She says, I'm bad. And you? And he says, I'm very good. So those are just some examples of things that you might see and hear and practice on your own for this chapter. Thank you guys so much for watching.